This is 365 Sports, powered by Sitcom365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Alongside Royden Ogletree, KWTX, and Royden, yesterday we were not on the air for this show because this show is at 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It's a very important
Something happened yesterday?
event at 1 o'clock, like in the 1 o'clock hour. Your station only covered that all day long,
That's
right?
That's what we did. Literally all we did.
Honestly, had the first lady been kidnapped, like you would have had to like, hey, we're sorry to interrupt the first the Eclipse coverage, but something bad's happened.
Yeah, when you do all.
And by the way, I say that in like the White House Down kind of movie thing, like
they're all in the bunker somewhere.
Yeah.
No, the one thing when you do television news, the one thing that you hope because we do this thing called Food for Families. If you don't know what it is, it's a one-day food drive all day throughout Central Texas, raises thousands and thousands of dollars for meals for families in need, for food, for pantries. Check it out, actually, when we come back around and do it again right before Thanksgiving. Regardless, it's an all-day telethon. When you do an all-day telethon of one subject, you are just praying to whatever God that you believe in. Nothing happens. Mm-hmm. And we have a huge area. Something probably is going to happen. Luckily, nothing really that we know of shook out terribly yesterday, mostly because I think people were all kind of enjoying themselves watching the moon cover the sun. Yeah. So, no, it is literally all we did yesterday. I think we did 3 hours straight of Eclipse coverage from noon to 3, took a break, did a 4 o'clock hour-long show, took a break, went straight into the 5 o'clock news, which I did 30 minutes of that, took a break, 6 to 7 hour long, and then came back and did a 9 and 10 broadcast. And so it was literally all Eclipse coverage. And now we're just not going to talk about it at all, I don't think. Yeah. I think it's just done. I think we're just not going to. What are we going to do?
You can't do anything. It's it. That's
Economic
over.
impact 12 years from now? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was great. Look, it was great for the city.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it because of some of the threatening weather, I think we lost a little bit of some of that. But
there was supposed to be the estimates just based on what was happening in Colorado, the prior eclipse. There was estimates that there was supposed to be an influx of 50 to 100,000 people in Lampasas. I don't know if our viewers have been to Lampasas.
It's nothing there.
I don't know if you can fit 50,000 people in that town. Regardless, that didn't happen. And I think, yeah, you're right. The cloud covered. But it really was cool. If you haven't seen it, the clouds parted. Mm-hmm. And it just went dark. Birds stopped chirping. The street lights came on. It was strange.
It was very wild to see. I'll say this again because I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I'm a person. Garrett, I'm not a fighter, am I?
No, not much.
No, I'm a teddy bear, a puppy dog, a kitty cat, if you will.
Everything about you screamed UFC.
Oh, but there is a guy in my neighborhood, and I don't know. He's close enough to me where I can hear everything they do.
Yes.
But I don't know who he is because I've,
It's
never
probably for the best.
Yeah, it is probably for the best because it would be one of those things. He will shoot off fireworks for any holiday or occasion. So as soon as it happened, like as soon as the sun went hiding behind the old moon there.
Mm-hmm. Technical term.
Yeah. When it happened, this son of a bitch fired off fireworks. And he does it all the time. And look, I wouldn't mind if it was just like the 4th of July and New Year's. But what happens
Leif
is...
Erikson Day?
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's like whatever day it is. Flag Day, Arbor Day, I hope he's not Catholic because we have all feast days going around. Like if he figures that out, Groundhog Day, whatever it is. And the problem isn't necessarily those days because I know this. He has fireworks. He shot a few of them off. He only had, a couple of minute window to, get the full effectiveness of a firework. And then it was over. But I know he has fireworks still in that 3 or 4 days from now. This weekend, I'll be laying down to go to sleep, and I will hear fireworks for an hour. Because
I hate that.
You can't have a surplus, of fireworks. I don't know. And
well,
I
they
cannot
sell
believe
3 days a year, so you know he's stocked
Yeah,
up.
I know. And I can't believe that the people directly around him have not done something about it. And he's just far enough away to where it's not overpowering, but just close enough to where I can't go to sleep. Because it's every couple minutes, it's like,
As somebody who lives in a neighborhood and has done a bad job of meeting their neighbors, mostly because they all have kids and are like the platonic ideal of a family or whatever, or that's not the right, platonic's not the right word, the nuclear idea of a family. And anytime that fireworks have gone off in our neighborhood or something of that nature, I've just subtweeted, and actually I think somebody follows me and they apologize. I was like, oh no, I actually don't care that much to look like an asshole on Twitter for just subtweeting. I will say when we first moved into our house though, they started building and building and building in one of these, bedroom communities that are now springing up all over the place, which we live in. But we share a backyard with our direct neighbor. And it's like that, 4 quadrants all the way around. Regardless, I think the first weekend I was there, a new couple had just moved into their home. 1 a.m. mariachi music, full mariachi band. Not like they were playing it over speakers. There was a band. And you're just kind of, I go to bed late. It doesn't bother me. But I know some people around me were seething because at 1 in the morning, and you're like, what happened? Anyway, so that was, and that has continued a lot. But I'm up late. It doesn't bother me. It bothers a lot of other people, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that one would have been fun. I think that would have been fun. But anyway, let's get to real fireworks on the court last night.
So with all this Eclipse stuff, I'm not even going to lie to you. I was telling them, I had forgotten there was a national championship. That's how much it involved. I was so involved with all this
My
stuff.
uncle called me last night at about 9:30 because they were supposed to come down here and then didn't. And he was like, oh, yeah. And so he's like, well, what are you guys doing right now? I'm like, well, I'm watching UConn start to run away with this thing here. And he's like, oh, that is tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Well, it was also not on CBS. It was triple. It was triple broadcast on TBS, TNT, and True TV. Is that normally a thing?
No, I think it's fairly new.
Yeah, I do.
It's fairly new.
When was Baylor's on those?
Yeah.
They were? Okay, I guess so.
I mean, they have the 4 networks and that they do throughout the time, so you can watch all the games at once.
Why lose revenue by not doing that on CBS?
That's part of the deal to push more things to the cable. It's the same way of doing the national championship on ESPN and on ABC, which they did for a while. Yeah, so
seems like a missed opportunity to me.
Well, and we'll see in new TV deals and all that.
It's the same with the Caitlin Clark or the Iowa LSU game drew what 12 million viewers or 13 million viewers or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was just on ESPN. You imagine what it would have done probably on ABC.
Yeah, but also with the late tip, I'm sure that would run up against local news, and that's something they would want to avoid as well.
It doesn't matter because we pushed back anyway, during the couple of weeks that they had it on CBS. And we were starting at 11:30, 12.
Nope.
Anchors love that, by the way.
Yeah.
But this game is still going on. Son of a...
Yeah, no, it's bad. The
Houston UConn game, it was where they kept fouling down the stretch to try and extend the time. Well, when are we going on? I don't know. I just have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought Zach Edey was fantastic. And I also admire the game plan that Danny Hurley had. And look, Klingon is going to mash with him and not be afraid of him more than anybody. And that was somewhat effective, especially when they started to pull away, except for the fact that Danny Hurley, unlike everybody else who's played Purdue, I don't know about everybody else, but he really committed to the plan of, we're probably not going to stop Edey. He's too good. He's in too much of a hot streak. We've got a guy who can slow him down a little bit. if we can make Edey kick the ball out, then we can stop those guys. And when that took effect was as soon as the second half began. Because it was 36-30 at halftime. Purdue was hanging with them. It looked like one of those games where, look, if Purdue comes out after halftime, bangs a couple threes, goes on a scoring run, then the game is probably a lot different than it was. But Connecticut had a lead going into half. And then they came out, and the reason above everything else, other than their, not just their coaching in depth, but the one thing that this team was uncannily able to do was when they had a lead, they knew exactly when to turn on the gas. And they knew exactly when to, when the other team was starting to, nibble away at that lead, when to, kick on the alarm. And that was the same for them last year. Because they've won all these games in a row, and all of them by double digits in the NCAA tournament. That wasn't. I go back and I look at Kansas in 2022, and Kansas in 2022 was just able to withstand everything you threw at them. They just kept whatever you threw at them, they could withstand it. They had the players, Abaji and Wilson and Remy Martin. They were all really, really good. They were deep. So they just, whatever you threw at them, whatever run you went on, like North Carolina, they were just able to come back. Baylor in 2021 was a lot like that, in that if they ever got to an 8-point lead in a game, it was over.
Yeah, you didn't have the dogs to keep up with them, what they were throwing at you
if
defensively
it
to
was
try
three possessions to get a lead. You were not going to have a 3-possession run.
Well, you weren't going to have anybody get open on around the 3-point line to try and get you back into this. You're just going to have somebody in your shorts the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. So Connecticut's like that. You were not when it got to 10 points for them. Anytime it got to 10, you could even feel Purdue knew it. They're this is right where we didn't want it to be. Because as soon as it's double digits, then their goal is, okay, it's to double digits. Let's see how many of these double digits we can beat you by. That's their goal.
1 of 7 from three-pointer from Purdue, too. I mean, you would think that you would get as much as – Zach Edey was getting, such deep seals and stuff on those on his shots, and he took 25 shots that it kind of negated the kick back out to the wing three. But they also didn't hit any to begin with. I think to get back in that game, you would have needed more. You needed more from Foster Lawyer, who, he was over 5, 0 points. But the thing that astounded me, UConn out-rebounded Purdue.
There's where Klingon and those guys come in, where
35-28, and you could see it. Offensive rebounds, they were getting they would just crowd Edey with three or four bodies every single time on those rebounding tries. And I had a basketball coach one time that, we weren't good, but he drilled into us that said, if we win the rebounding battle and we win the free throws and we make our free throws, we're going to win 90% of our games. Yeah. And the more that I've watched college basketball, that sort of holds true for any basketball, really. I think the great equalizer in the NBA is that somebody can just – Klay Thompson can hit 12 threes and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But for something where you don't have as much talent,
when you
Zach
have
Edey
guys,
and a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. When you have guys that are, there to muddy the water. In the NBA, you don't necessarily have that.
Some Pat of the Beverly somewhere.
Yeah. You don't necessarily Pat Beverly, Draymond Green, when you have, but those are guys who do that at an elite athletic level. There are guys who are not nearly as athletic as those guys, who their job is to, if you shoot from more than 3 feet away, I'm going to sit your ass on the bench because that's not the rules we agreed to. There are those guys. And so because you have those guys who are there to muddy things up, free throws become a lot more important, especially, in the tournament because, again, it's in the name. They're free throws. You got to make them.
John Purdue shot more free throws than UConn. But.
John Calipari would have another title on his belt
at Memphis.
At Memphis, had his team made from some free throws. Kansas came back in that game by fouling and rebounding.
You think Derrick Rose still thinks about that?
Every night. Every night. I guarantee you, like, if there's an event where, like, if he was in an airport and Mario Chalmers walked by, he would be like, at least, or at least,
come on.
Oh, hi, Mario.
And then those Bull teams couldn't get past those Heat teams either.
Yeah. Did you see, have you seen Cobra Kai?
I saw one season of it, actually.
Okay, did you see the first season?
Think so, yeah.
So in the first season, Garrett, are you familiar with Cobra Kai?
I am not. I'm not.
Jack, come here. Stand next to me. You're familiar with Cobra Kai, correct?
Here he comes. He's excited.
Yeah. I'm not excited. Oh. Okay. Jack, you're familiar with Cobra Kai, correct?
Yes.
You are. So you know in the first season of Cobra Kai, when Johnny sees Daniel again at the car dealership, that is how I envision Derrick Rose seeing Mario Chalmers. Where it's like, like Mario Chalmers like, hey, Derrick. And Johnny's like, oh, great. And like just Johnny was like, oh, Daniel LaRusso, great. This guy kicked me in the face. Awesome. That's why I lost. So
took my girlfriend.
I wonder what different way he sees that whole story. You know? Like, how does Mario see it versus how does Derrick Rose see it? Because that was the whole base of that bit, is that they see it two very different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jack.
And then Justin Timberlake came out in the ESPYs and made fun of him.
Oh, he was like, yeah, look. He walked in front of Mario Chalmers and he's like, hey, look, watch me.
And then Wade did a free throw bit where he's like shooting backwards. Anyway.
Yeah. So no, I mean, like, it's important. It's very important. And look, I've heard Scott Drew say it for years about his Baylor teams that aren't good at it. And it's not like they don't work on it. I just think it's one of those things that is, it's like putting in golf. There are some guys who, you know, you look at them and they, when Jordan Spieth was on his tear, that was what he was doing so well. Yeah. Was there's just like.
And then you're out now, he has the yips.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Rory does so well. Rory's such a great putter where, like, all right, there's, you know, you could Happy Gilmore the thing with all this stuff in the way and play it where it lies, and he's just smooth with it. And then there's other guys, you know, who get to points in their career where they just can't putt. Bryson DeChambeau a couple years ago just could not putt. He could not putt, and then he would, like.
He was literally Happy Gilmore. He could drive 1,000 yards.
Well, I remember I think it was the U.S. Open where he hit one that was, like almost unplayable, and you didn't want to take a drop. It was like right there, like you should take a drop, and he like tin cupped it until he did. So then we're mixing a lot of golf movie metaphors here, but you get the point where he just like rage hit it until he could get it, you know, from.
Give me another ball.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just such a mental thing. I remember I've asked Jerome Tang this and Scott Drew, but I asked Jerome Tang first. I said, look, if you have a guy that's under 80% free throws or 75%, we'll give him 3 out of 4. If he's under 75%, he should have to shoot them underhand. Like, you know, and he's like, look, these guys you're just not going to get them to do that because they want to look cool. I'm like, who's cooler than Wilt Chamberlain?
So do people even know who Wilt Chamberlain
well,
is
listen,
anymore?
like this is where like you probably don't want to teach people about Wilt Chamberlain.
Just a legendary.
Just like he was the all-time leading scorer because of underhand free throws. And he's famous for no other reason. Mm-hmm. Let's not, like, oh, what else is he famous for? Don't worry about it, kids. You don't want to live that life. It's too hectic.
I know we're going to get into this next segment, but it is official. Calipari is out at Kentucky.
Yeah. Yes. Calipari, there was some sentiment that he might be doing this, like pushing it all the way to the line just to see what Kentucky would give him. And
this feels to me, I don't know, next segment. This feels to me as like Calipari, Kentucky didn't want to fire him, but they're like, you better go find a new job. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. We're going to stop investing as much into you as you want, you know, or we'll make your life a living hell and give you less support than like we deem necessary, which feels weird to say about Kentucky, but it feels like that was mutually done on both sides after that loss.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
love
you can only go so far, right?
What's up?
You can only go so far with each other eventually before you kind of wind down with Calipari and UK, like if things aren't working out.
Yeah, how long were they married?
15 years.
Hey, you're doing great, buddy. Good job. Let's get it. Let's start it over. You know, get you a little strange with Arkansas. and remember the good times.
Yeah.
That one national championship that Anthony Davis won you.
He's posted a 4-minute video on Twitter to Big Blue Nation, of which I can't hear right now because that would be awkward and weird on the air.
The AD Mitch Barnhart has got a couple of tweets out.
Yeah.
So
he's still wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah, it's
Like
very
that's kind of like a little bit tacky. Like just wear a neutral, like wear a black one.
Yeah.
Wear neutral.
Wear a suit.
Yeah.
You always wear a suit.
Yeah, but he's still got a blue.
I don't know where I stand on Calipari.
I know where I do. And we'll talk about that next. But let's finish out UConn. What an unbelievable run. What a ridiculous, unbelievable run they've had. And
I want to present this to you. Are they...
They're the modern-day bluest of blood.
I was going to say...
This is their sixth title.
Sixth title.
All since the late 90s.
I was going to say, are they on a better footing than, say,
Yes.
Duke?
Yes.
Yep.
Duke, Kentucky, Kansas.
Like,
sorry, baby. But, like, all of them. They've won more than all those teams have recently.
Mm-hmm.
With different coaches.
With different coaches.
Yeah.
Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, and now
Kevin Ollie's fired after winning
Dan
the
Hurley.
national
Is it
championship.
5? They've won 5 now. I said 6. They've won 5.
I don't think it's...
No, it's 6.
It's six total, yeah.
So, yeah. So, Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, and Dan Hurley have all won titles. 3 different coaches.
Yeah.
Duke has only won with 1. You know, Kentucky won with 2 different ones.
Yeah.
Kansas has won with 1 recently. They won with some before, like Larry Brown won, and of course they won, back in the.
I mean, the gold standard is
in the Chuck Taylor
UCLA,
days.
but that was before a lot of
In
things.
the Wilt days, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things took, like people stayed 4 years, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
to me, it's they have kind of taken the mantle as the gold standard in college basketball of what you need to try and replicate now, honestly. Do I think they're going to win 3 or 4 in a row? No, but, to be the first one to do this since
Duke?
No, to be the first one to go back to back since Florida.
Sorry, I blocked those things out of my memory.
Right. Who was an anomaly to begin with because all those guys could have been lottery picks to begin with, and then they came back, and then there were still lottery picks.
Yeah.
So that feels like shouldn't have, like that's a weird multiverse thing that happened where all these guys decided to stay in college one more year. That doesn't happen. Anyway, to be the first team to kind of figure it out and wade the waters into being a dynasty in college basketball again in this new era, you got to try and it's easier said than done, but it is interesting that now UConn, I'd hold them up there against any of the blue bloods of all time, actually. Because of what they've done in modern basketball is what I'm trying to say.
Is UConn in a unique situation where they're the only blue blood per se, or really they're the only team in general that I could think of, Gonzaga maybe throw in the mix, where you don't have to compete with your football team or anything else for NIL. It's strictly all going to basketball because of where their football team, their program is at compared to even a Kentucky, where Kentucky is on the rise, and now Mark Stoops has them wanting that investment. Like UConn, it's not there for them. It's all basketball.
I think being in the Big East helps that too, because now Kansas has to invest more in football.
Right.
They're starting to put a lot of money into facilities and stadium renovation. Are they making a new stadium or renovating that stadium?
Renovating for Kansas.
Yeah,
Renovating. Yeah, they're renovating.
I was
that
just
stadium,
there, so yeah, it's
building new stuff. So even Kansas, who you would say who has given a damn about the football team over the past 20 years, now they have to sort of to keep up with the Joneses in the Big 12 and the people coming into. Yeah, I mean, Gonzaga's in a unique situation in that way too. But I think, being in the Big East, not a super power football conference, UConn, I guess their baseball team has been good before. But they have historically been a terrible football program. They may be. I was trying to think, even Syracuse. They put a lot into their football program too. I that's a good point. I think it's like them and Gonzaga.
Maybe like Nova and them who don't really have it.
Yeah, Villanova.
Yeah. By the way, I saw this. I think Jack sent it to me. No, my friend Kyle sent it to me. But Kentucky is the last Super 2, trademark Craig Smoke, conference team to win the NCAA tournament.
What is that?
That was in 2014. The Super 2 is the Big Ten in the SEC.
Oh.
So the last Super 2. Every year since then, neither of them have won it.
Yeah.
They're the last ones to have won it. It's all been Big 12, Big East, Villanova, and,
Feels like it's really just been the Big East.
Yeah, Villanova and UConn and, ACC. Like, that's who's won it since then, right? And Arkansas just poached their coach, who was the last one to do it. So it's a very interesting thing. When we come back, we'll talk more about Calipari officially gone from Lexington and who are the candidates realistically to replace him. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sitcom365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Okay, so Jack just asked me whilst we were in the break. We are going to do video opens for each of our live shows. This one and 365 Sports. That is an hour and 33 minutes from now. So we're working on that. He said, what do you want? I said, I don't know. Let's keep it simple. And then I said, no, let's go the exact opposite direction. And I'm curious to hear the chat room's views on this. But this is what we're doing. We are going to do a 1980s, 90s TJF type
Full House,
Perfect Strangers,
Family Matters,
Step by Step. It might be better. Step by Step might be the one we follow because we have rotating co-hosts.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get Pierre Nugent
I'm
to do
unfamiliar.
Step by Step.
Yeah.
Step by Step immediately followed Full House and led into Family Matters for quite a long time. And it was the show starring Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers, as it was kind of like a new take on the Brady Bunch. They had gotten married, and they each had kids, and they moved in a house. They lived in Wisconsin.
Suzanne Summers, good Lord.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes. And
160 episodes. We used to be a proper country. Never heard of this show. 160 episodes. All those people are rich.
Look, and the last 60 of them were god-awful.
Yep.
They, the guy who was the funniest dude in the show got in some trouble, and they had to fire him. He came back for one episode to tie it up 2 years later. Cody, who was very funny on the show, but he did a bad thing. And I don't want to adjudicate something from years and years ago, but sorry, you're playing the theme song.
Yeah. Something started playing.
Which I know is step by step, day by day. One step closer, different every day. But yeah, so then
Quick,
after
what's
that,
7 times 9?
Yeah, 63.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks for verifying that I do know actual things, but useful things. I do hope that one day somebody comes to me and says, listen, the only thing that'll make me happy as I pass away is if somebody sings this television theme song to me. And then that skill comes into play. Hey, this old lady's dying, and the only thing that would make her happy is hearing the theme.
What do you need? I need the theme song to Cheers.
Yeah. Sir, what do you need? I miss Baywatch.
Sometimes you wanna go.
Some people stand in the darkness, afraid to step into the light. So, yeah. Oh, I
Anyway,
know.
that's what we're gonna do for the intro.
We're going to do an 80s sitcom intro with everyone who's involved in the show and do it that way. So,
I just want mine to be filmed over at Brotherwell, where I'm just like,
they would love that. They would love that.
can watch the triple option.
Yeah, but you have to like
Paul
wake up and grin, and there'll just be music behind you, which has to be different than the music we're playing now because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it has to be like 80s, 90s sitcom-y music. But that's what we're gonna do.
Paul Catamaran. Paul triple option with Paul Catalina.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, Alan, he was not in the Karate Kid. He was in Kickboxer. Sasha Mitchell.
Oh.
So these are things I don't know. Again, sir, this guy's having a stroke. If you can help him figure out which character from Step by Step was in a Kickboxer movie that's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. Sasha Mitchell. Sure. Is it Sasha Mitchell? Yes. Okay. He's cured.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. None of us in this room knew that. I'm glad you were just aimlessly walking through this emergency room.
This kid is choking. Does anybody know a really inane trivia about 2010's movies? It was Jesse Eisenberg.
He was in all of them.
Yeah.
He was in all of them, everywhere. All right. John Calipari. He is on his way to a new sitcom. John Calipari in Kentucky is now canceled. He's off to another network and another show, much like Charlie Sheen has been throughout his career. And Arkansas, look,
It's mean to Calipari.
yeah, it's a little mean to Calipari. But here's what Arkansas is getting. They're getting a guy who has titles, Final Four runs, all of those things. Is maybe
the most NBA players in the NBA.
Like, as far as getting
the
pure talent, like there's nobody out there better at getting more of those guys on the same team than John Calipari.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the last decade of getting those guys who are more talented and more NBA ready than everybody else into a game that happens on the second weekend of the tournament, much less the third, that has been problematic. So this is either one of two things to me. And I'm a guy who lives in the gray areas, but I don't really think that we're at this point in Calipari's career where it's going to be gray areas. This is either going to be he's refreshing and he's going to come in and make Arkansas, a team that's won a championship before under Nolan Richardson, 40 minutes of hell. Back in 94, I believe, was Arkansas, when they won. So, there's some... In the last 30 years of history, they've done it. So Arkansas was really good at times under Eric Musselman. This year was a bit of a down year, but he's off to USC.
He's also sent a ton of people like this. They've been getting NBA talent.
Yeah. So Arkansas is going to get some talent. Can that talent transfer into wins for them? Maybe it does, and maybe this is the new start that he needs to do that, or this is Arkansas's Jimbo Fisher deal.
Feels like the latter to me, but who am I to say? I said it before the break. It just feels like Kentucky and almost felt like a mutual parting of ways, and Arkansas was more than happy to after they lose Musselman to USC of all places, right?
Yep.
To bring in, I mean, look, Calipari, if he's not already in the Hall of Fame, is going to be in the basketball Hall of Fame.
And he's earned that. He's certainly earned it.
Any coach that usually wins a national championship and has made that many Final Fours will. But I think he's still playing, and maybe he gets people to commit longer to Arkansas than he did to the University of Kentucky. I don't know if Arkansas screams, I'm going to stick, around here for longer than Kentucky screams. That seems pretty similar destination types. It's not like, oh man, I really love Long Beach. I'm just going to stick around here for a minute. It doesn't scream like I love where Arkansas, Fayetteville, and Kentucky, but I just think that I don't know, getting kids to stick around these places longer has become more and more difficult. Plus, he's been touting how many people he puts in the NBA. That's become his sort of new calling card. I mean, they interview him every draft, and he has every John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis jersey all behind him, and that's what he's been touting because he's been losing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if him going to Arkansas is going to help them beat a team with kids that already have 401ks. I don't know, but there needed to be a change of scenery because I think that you were right in saying like the divorce was coming sooner rather than later. The problem is that they couldn't get Kentucky. I don't think could get out of that contract, the lifetime contract that they gave him.
Well, I mean, they had 3 years left. I mean, it's like 3 years before it was going to be less than a $34 million buyout or whatever, before it was really palatable. Mm-hmm. So he was on a win or else kind of thing. And John Calipari doesn't win or else. Like, that's not where he's going to operate. So I do think this is best for I hope all sides with Arkansas. I mean, like, I hope this isn't a bad decision for them. I don't think it's a bad decision, but I think there's an inherent risk in maybe getting a coach who has gone past his sell-by date.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to compare what Kentucky, just looking at their Wikipedias, what Kentucky has done versus what. Now, the last time that they made the Final Four, Kentucky made the Final Four, was it recently or was it all the way back in 2015?
I feel like it was recent. Let me look that up.
Yeah, so the last time that Arkansas made the Final Four was 1995. Mm-hmm. They were the tournament runner-up in 95. Mm-hmm. Since then, they've been to the Elite Eight twice in 2021, 2022.
Yeah, 2015 was the last year of the Final Four.
Yeah, last year at the Final Four. When's the last time that Kentucky went to the Elite Eight? Because they had a team that was badly ranked.
15, yeah. Or 15 was the last time they went because they were in the Final Four in 15. They haven't been.
Well, I was trying to the Elite Eight in general. Yeah. But the last time, I remember they were like lowly ranked because they really underperformed even with pros on their team. And then they made a deeper run than anybody expected them to. People are like, Calipari's still got it.
2019 was Elite Eight.
Right.
They went 2017 Elite Eight, Sweet 16, and then in 2019 Elite Eight again.
Yeah, so Calipari has had similar success recently to what Musselman replicated. It's not like Musselman made the Final Four in his time and is leaving such a huge legacy behind at Arkansas. He got them back to winning, but I think you're replacing him with an equal to coach. At this point in Calipari's career. It's hard to say that about the Hall of Fame coach that Calipari is and the coach that we know that he can be, but I think they're pretty similar. I don't think I would see a drop off if what you're expecting to get to is the Elite Eight. Now I know if you're hiring Calipari, you want them for the money they're going to pay him. You want them to get to the Final Four, but I think it feels like a linear hire to me.
Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, look, but linear is fine if you've got the kind of influence that he has and the way he can recruit, because that hasn't changed. I mean, nobody would almost every coach in the country would change with him when it came to getting those type of players.
Right, yeah.
Now part of it might be some of them need to stay longer. Like, not all of them need to be one and dones. You need to have a mix. And that's hard to do.
Like, Reed Sheppard feels to me, even though he's going to be a top 10 pick, he feels to me like it's the type of person that needed to stay at Kentucky for one more year or 2 more years.
Yeah.
Exactly. Was it Reed Sheppard that couldn't hit a shot in that game against
I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, he did not, yeah.
He's going to be a top 10, or it was projected to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's changed because of that game.
No, but it seems to me like a kid that could stay in college a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree.
Problem is they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we're either seeing again the rebirth of a coach in a place where he can maybe do it a little bit better, and he was let's rewind to the whole thing he had about this is a basketball school, not a football school. He, which by the way, he's going to one that I don't know what you'd call it, right? They really love football, but they've been really behind the 8 ball lately.
It's kind of up for grabs, honestly.
It's kind of up for grabs.
That's true, but I'll tell you, they will always love football more than they love you.
Yeah.
John. Sorry. Just is what it is. Pig suey. And the fact of the matter is, though, they'll love football, especially if they can get back on track, which, well, it's tough sailing now. But it is up for grabs in that you can bite into that market because it is literally the only show in town. Mm-hmm. Arkansas, they don't have professional sports teams. I mean, when we go to Arkansas to fish, they're watching the St. Louis Cardinals play baseball. If you go into a Walmart, it's not Astros and Rangers gear or something like you would see here. Of course, you see Texas and A&M gear, but it's just Arkansas, just like it is kind of in Kentucky. But of course, they have Cincinnati stuff and stuff like that. But I think that it is you can bite into it like you were saying. But it is the only show in town, so that is interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Garrett.
Okay, so I'm curious on this. Given what Cal brought, bringing the championship and everything to Kentucky during his tenure, and I know the way it ended, but Matt Norlander, CBS, has this out there that Calipari still has not had any contact with the AD, Mitch Barnhart. Are you surprised by that?
No, because again, they've been at odds for a little while.
Right.
One, we had John Clay on yesterday from Lexington Herald, and he said that Mitch Barnhart was lukewarm on NIL at first.
Yeah, that was weird.
To which, I mean, now he can't, now his hand is forced. You can't be lukewarm on it, especially if you're Kentucky.
Yeah.
And, Calipari wants more NIL. He wants a facility upgrade. He got mad because they were doing a football one before the basketball one, and he and Mitch Barnhart got crossed there. And I don't know if there's, even though you can have a professional relationship after that, once you've, crapped on one sport to benefit yours, it never goes back. And it doesn't change. I'll give a Mulkey example here because I know it well. Kim Mulkey has a son who is a professional baseball player, correct? Mm-hmm. When that son was coming up for college, did he go to Baylor?
He went home.
No, he went to LSU. And he had been here since he was a little kid.
He played at Midway.
Why did that not happen? Because Kim Mulkey very publicly said that they should take away from baseball to give to women's basketball, and Steve Smith, the baseball coach, did not take kindly to that. So it affected their relationship in a huge way. In that she's just no, they don't need this new batting cage. We need this. And so,
by the way,
even though
in there, Steve Smith could have used that kid to play on his baseball
yeah,
team.
I mean, but all those things, they don't go away. You can say it, but those are big things when it comes to millions of dollars projects, and you're trying to, take from something else that only enriches the whole university. And yes, Kentucky's front, their best product is basketball. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that their second best product can't be football and that they shouldn't invest in it. And one does not have to come at the expense of the other.
Especially with Stoops making lemons from lemonade over the past few years.
So
lemonade from lemons, sorry.
Yeah. So Calipari's been doing that, lemons from he's reversing the process a little bit. And so Kentucky fans were kind of they were just done with each other. They were just done with each other, and that's fine. That happens a lot in sports. But at the end of all of this, is Arkansas getting Calipari at his best, or are they getting him right before the end?
Checked out.
It'll be interesting because I think the first couple years he'll be on a mission, and maybe you do get a little fat and happy, and you expect things at Kentucky. But there are some things that seem Jimbo Fisherish here to me. He's not adapting enough to the modern game, even though there's things he wants to adapt. But when it comes to, all right, how can I?
Well, the rumors have always been that Cal's not a good in-game coach to begin with, and then you can see it when his players don't make. All right, he's not able to make adjustments. So get chasing the guy around ball screens that's bombing threes. Maybe we should stick with that guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always been those rumors. Part of me thinks that he still wants to compete a little bit. Hopefully these dumb losses to these teams stick in his craw more. But I do agree with the comparison to Jimbo Fisher. I don't have anything more to add on that.
Yeah.
Who do you think I guess you want to give a mini top 5. Like, who do you think is going to replace him at Old Blue?
I know that like the odds-on favorite is Scott Drew right now. Like there's some Vegas odds makers are giving it 1-to-1 odds that it's Scott Drew
crazy
because he does have a relationship with Mitch Barnhart. They are friends. I just think that he's got this program is completely his. It's completely his. And this is the one job. Now, the good news is I think if he does eventually turn this one down, which I think he will, then that's going to stop everybody from every time there's a job open at a school that's bigger than Baylor. Well, you got to go call Scott Drew.
It's like, well, he turned down Kentucky.
Yeah. He turned down Louisville. He will have turned down Louisville and Kentucky in the same month. Mm-hmm. So I think that should solidify where he is. But look, I don't blame Scott Drew for picking up the phone and answering it when Mitch Barnhart calls because, you got to investigate these things. But I ultimately think he'll be back here because it's what's best for him.
He stays, his name is on the stadium or at least on the court when you walk in. That it just is what it is. He leaves, I think it'll leave a sour taste in some people's mouth, which is tough because he did bring a national championship, which most people never thought was possible at Baylor. But that just is the nature of the game.
Yeah.
It's not like fans are all of a sudden going to get a good head on their shoulders and have an even keel and be like, oh, well, thanks for the memories, coach. Really appreciate what you did. No, it's if Baylor ever plays Kentucky again, boo hiss. That's like what will happen.
Yeah, I don't think they should, but yeah, I get you.
I mean, I'm just saying fans aren't rational. I just think that is what there will be a large contingent of people, like it or not, that will still be like, I can't believe that you would scorn us like this. That is fandom. Even though he stayed here for way longer than anybody thought that he would have, especially after he had moderate success in the early 2010s. That's when he would have left, to go to a bigger and better program. I do agree. Now they have the stadium. They have like the number 3 recruiting class in the country. You can win here. He's proven it. So I digress. Other than to say, yeah, but Kentucky has like 7 national championships, so I don't know.
Nate Oates already took his name out of consideration for it, which is good for Alabama. Look, they're not getting Danny Hurley. They're not getting Jay Wright. They're not getting Billy Donovan.
I was going to say it's going to be Billy Donovan.
No, I mean, look, is he going to leave the Bulls?
He's going to be fired by the Bulls.
Okay, well then maybe they do get Billy Donovan.
That's a possibility if he's fired.
I mean, look, the Bulls have done him no favors in that they have just drafted the wrong players for 10 years.
Yeah, but he's part of that.
But he's also – he had really good success immediately because he had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook at MVP level. Then they made the conference finals. They should have beaten the Warriors and gone to the finals, and none of this, he would have had a championship and nobody would be talking about this.
Yeah.
Then they don't. Durant leaves. Then it's first round exit, miss the playoffs, go to the Bulls. I think they're out in the play-in. Hasn't made the playoffs ever since. In fact, I think he has a losing record with the Bulls. The person that comes to mind to me is Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
Legendary college coach, wins national championships, goes to the Knicks, makes the conference semifinals, tanks with the Boston Celtics. They run him out of town. And look, he comes back and has success. It rarely happens that like an NBA, a college coach goes to the NBA and comes back down. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of who was the guy that
Calipari did it himself.
Well, Calipari did it, but Pitino did it. Who's the guy that won the championship? I think for the Pistons that came back and was at SMU.
Oh, Larry Brown.
Larry Brown was at SMU for a little bit. Cincinnati. Yeah. I think that these NBA coaches. And the same with NFL coaches. They all kind of just trade places.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Once you're in, it's hard to come back down. But I will say, Billy Donovan, if you want to get back into the game this way, this is the place to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to land on your feet better than like who's going to take you now in the NBA? Somebody, I don't even the Detroit Pistons, like.
Yeah.
Where's the step up from tanking with the Bulls?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
So, anyway, I mean, look, that's a fair point.
If Drew goes, and there's a thought exercise, what's the step for Baylor? Do you bring Tang back?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first call you make.
I tweeted that today.
That's the first call you make if he does. And so I don't think Baylor's in as dire a situation as they would have been years ago, considering that, like a third of the coaches in the country now feel like they're on Scott Drew's coaching tree. All right, real quick before we leave, an update on FSU v. ACC. So today, the ACC and Florida State are in court again, and
it's my favorite segment we do, by the way.
Yeah. So Judge Cooper asked about what FSU needs to pay the ACC. Cooper asked then, after FSU pays the $140 million exit fee, you keep the media rights, but if they wanted to buy the media rights, then you'd have to negotiate that price. And the ACC lawyer said, or we could sell the FSU media rights to somebody else, and they would receive portions of that just the same way they do now. So then the ACC could sell them back to ESPN or whatever, whatever it is.
So they're talking about selling the rights to these teams individually?
Well, I mean, once you leave, your rights are owned. Like, that's the only ones you have to sell. So, so then FSU's counsel was waving around the ACC Constitution, said they're not following it. They're treating us like we've withdrawn, saying the ACC is like, they're not following the Constitution. And this also goes back to the ACC did not have a formal vote on a lawsuit until after they'd filed it. Now, everybody voted for the lawsuit, but, they'd already done it, and then they cleaned it up afterwards. And here are interesting things, because there's lawsuits in Florida and North Carolina. So FSU is alleging the ACC is taking of property and property owned by a Florida entity. And two, North Carolina laws can't waive sovereign immunity. So that means that because a North Carolina company has a contract with a Florida company, they can't pull that away, Florida entity. Anyway, three, public records and meeting laws. Those are the three things that Judge Cooper takes away from FSU's counsel's presentation today. And then they went into more and more and more about how these are all the things that are going on. So it's getting hot and it's getting dramatic in this. Again, we will not see a trial. If we see a trial, I will be shocked. But in this new realignment court phase that we're in, there's going to be darts thrown all around. And the ACC has the most solid footing here in that they, Florida State signed the contract. Clemson signed the contract. All the people who may want to leave, they've signed this contract. They've agreed to it. But Florida State's alleging that the ACC is not acting in good faith, and that these fines are just too huge for anybody to deal with, and they were put in there as a poison pill that nobody should have ever agreed to, and I don't know. So we'll see, but there's the update from today when it comes to Florida State and the ACC, which now Clemson will take the notes from this one and go to theirs, and round we go. And billable hours are the most valuable asset outside of TV rights in the NCAA today. It's here's the things. It's TV rights, billable hours, coaching salaries, NIL. Those in order are what?
What's the, what do you get, syndication?
Yeah, those things.
Syndication on TV shows,
yeah.
To bring it all the way back?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it called? The Sunshine Law in Florida?
Yeah.
Where all this has to be public record?
Yeah.
Are we going to get anything out of the North Carolina courts?
I don't know. We'll see. So we'll see. Because that's one of the things the judge said was he kind of said that the ACC accused Florida State of venue shopping, and then the judge said, well, isn't that what you're doing, the same thing? You're both venue shopping, so how is this not,
Well, he said, and then he said.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now in this lawsuit. But that's our lawsuit update. All right. Royden has picked his. We'll have to ask Steven how he wants his to go.
Yes.
And subsequent other people how they want their sitcom open to go. Garrett's going to have one, which I think Garrett should just be at the computer and
I'll
turning
just be here
around.
doing something.
Like peeking out from behind, like that. So.
Minimizing windows with some shady stuff on it.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. I'll have to go find a music bed that we're licensed for to have that open, but that's what it's gonna be. Also,
what will yours be?
I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pickleball.
yeah, pickleball.
Yeah,
or
just whiffing and just being like
a sport I have no business playing.
Yeah,
like just me in the gym, like catching a basketball and shooting, but you don't see where the ball goes. You just know I shot it.
just bouncing in the background. Brick.
I line up to kick a football, and then we just cut to it going through the goalpost as if I did that. Yeah, I think so.
Catching medicine balls.
Yeah. And we can maybe start out with, in the triple option formation, and then I pitch, and then it just cuts to people in different locales.
Just being hit with footballs.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's what we can do. We'll see. There's no shortage of ideas for this. And I love it because it will annoy the absolute crap out of Jack, which is a double bonus. It's here's the thing. It's like getting free candy.
Okay.
Yeah, like you just walk into some place and they have a jar and oh, would you like a fun size Snickers? I would.
Yes.
I would like a fun size Snickers. Thank you. This has improved my day just a little bit. That's what it's like. Royden, we'll see you next week, and we'll workshop this idea.
Okay.
Will we see you next week or?
No, I'm thinking, do we have any mega solar events that I'm not aware of?
God, I hope not.
Yeah.
Because if we do, it's not been predicted.
Yeah. It's a sun flare and we're going to die.
It's one of those things where we have to send Bruce Willis to the moon or on an asteroid to get it taken care of.
Who's Ben Affleck, get up there, brother.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I just want a quick movie recommendation. Monkey Man.
Good?
I've been
Rips.
meaning to ask you about this. Is it good?
Rips. It's awesome.
Yeah. Looks like it does.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. They've chopped it up a bit for what it was. It was supposed to be on Netflix years ago.
Yeah.
And it just now came out. But Dev Patel kicks ass, which you never would have thought because he's kind of just tall, handsome British guy.
Yeah.
But no, he rules. So there's that. And then the other monkey movie that I watched was Godzilla vs. Kong, and that sucked.
I know. I don't have any room for your slander of the Godzilla Kong universe.
It was awful.
I watched
unimportant.
I watched the
BS.
series. I watched the series that was on
Monarch?
Apple. Yeah, Monarch. It was good. Telling you,
watch it.
it was good. You look like Wyatt Russell yourself.
I've gotten that.
Yeah,
And okay, sure.
take it.
I
It's
prefer
compliment.
Kurt, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he looks like Kurt Russell. So
He looks like Kurt Russell was put in a dryer for
Yeah.
too long.
Okay.
That's not an insult because they're both handsome, I
Yeah.
believe. But it does. He just looks like Kurt Russell left of center.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Just a little bit.
Tattoo of a face on a face.
Listen, I will not look. Here's the thing. This will happen to you as you get older.
Okay.
Right now, you're looking for a deeper meaning in certain things. Eventually, and it's going away from you. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll figure out that in movies like Godzilla Kong, there's no deeper meaning.
Well, that's not true because I like the first one a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah, giant monkey versus lizard fight. I love
Yeah.
this. The second one, stupid. It's just, even more dumb.
Yeah.
And that I felt like it was bringing down my intelligence a little bit.
Yeah. No. Look, I want them to do another season of Monarch. I thought it was a really good show.
I'm normally in there. That one I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, a little disappointed in Royden today. And look, I'm not telling you that it's going to be Citizen Kane. I'll just tell you that sometimes I need to watch something where I don't have to think.
Oh, that's fine.
And you know this, and you know this, Garrett. Jack, this is one of the side parts to being married, is you will watch a show, and your wife will ask you questions about said show. And look, Amanda wouldn't be caught dead watching Godzilla Kong. In fact, she would walk in and go, what are you watching? This is dumb. But they will ask you random questions about the show as if like,
you've seen it.
Like, we're watching this at the same time.
This isn't something only wives do. I have 3 sisters.
Oh yeah. So I guess it's just a woman thing. Like, well, why did he get in the car? I don't know. Hey, it seems like a bad decision to me as well.
It's called the hero's journey. Let's go on it. You know?
Let's just enjoy it. Let's just enjoy it. That's going to do it for us. We're back here tomorrow with Steven Simcox. And later on in the show today, we're going to talk Arkansas and their big basketball hire with the man who broke the story. We'll also talk a little, is it Kansas today?
I believe the list he said was like for tomorrow. I don't know if he.
I don't know. I'm a little off. So again, it's the eclipse. You know.
So it's throwing your signs all off.
Yeah, my aura's all messed up and
Chakras are unbalanced.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah, no, I need to control alt delete real fast. All right, that's gonna do it for us, Royden. We'll see you next week.
Later.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on